And they see four drinks. One pink, one blue, one red, and one white. And another person asks, why can't you mix and drink these drinks? And the Martini stood up and said, I can't pledge allegiance to that. So the question is, let's say each of these cups represents something. One represents your business, your finances. Another represents your politics. Another represents your family. And another represents your faith. What happens if we mix these pots? Thinking of them like a pot that you grow plant. We have 3 trees here. Let's say they were not stone and not metal and wood. They're separate trees. Each is a living organism. But when you change it, like this, and add more, it gets lighter or darker. It might even change colors. And as you sit down and drink with your finances and politics, someone comes in. Long ago, there was something going on in this country. And they come in with their plans. As they have quarreled in private, they slither on it. And they say, why can't we mix some of this with this? Why? Who told you, rather? He really didn't tell you. They really didn't tell you that you can't mix your politics and use financial influence on there. Did they? And then you bring up the point about your devotion, your higher devotion. So then, that is what someone who did revivals all across the country did. And his son has walked away in a prodigal way. Then, after some time, you slowly adapt. They buy publishers and books. But then someone goes and says, and of course doing this, you have gone to a different type of fruit, a different tree. This is the fruit of great comfort. This is the fruit of the vine. Things do change when form completely. Evolution exists. We see it all the time. We see it in microbiology. We see sea wolves. Things that occur right before our eyes very slowly. And this occurred over decades. And it was all so that they could put a spike in this, because they took these, or more appropriately this, and they took it in their hand and they took the payment. And now they are owned and in bondage to that corruption. And someone says, who told you? Who told you that I wanted you to use the state, the power of the state, to be your compass? Who told you that I wanted the money to be merged with me? The whole profit scale? Who told you, that I wanted you to mix what I have and make my house and make someone else king or president? Was it Caesar? The government? Rome? Was it the crooked business deal with Judas? Was it Geneva? Was it Ferdinand and Isabella of Spain? Was it the Puritans? And then you have just lost everything because you took everything. You could have taken a sip from this, but now every time you take a sip from this, you have done this. You've defiled everything. You reached your hand out and took what you wanted to believe and feel, and you have defended it with a dogma, a devotion that overpowers. It's now your first and last. Now, what was once clear is ruined. Only the hourglass can fix it. Who told you? Who told you when the man crosses the desert into your land? Before this, it was asked, how do you live the perfect life? Or how do you be eternal? We can think before this of what was once said about visiting in prison and feeding and clothing. And then you go on and you talk about the man coming through the road, being attacked, the man who's afflicted, who comes for refuge, and one passes him, then you come across your enemy, and not with the anger, with the mark of someone else on your forehead or something else. You pay his bills, you take him to the hospital, you clothe him, you feed him. You ask for nothing in return for your own enemy. But what did you do? None of that. You put something else in your cup, and you drank the poison. That is why mixing these things together, one way or the other, corrupts each. Because you don't love them. You don't truly love them. You love something else. You are devoted to something else. And it will ruin your business, your politics, your family, and your faith. Unless you keep these things separate. Because without that, there is just sacrifice to other things. And why? Why? Because it is now a slave to what it's taken. It's dictated by the TV evangelist, by the publisher, by the church bank, by the bishop who covered some of the worst crimes up since this occurred, and who now, to this day, knows of traffickers in his own community. And because they are people of influence, he gives them communion. He commits horrible crimes. These people do it all over. Look at the evangelists, so obsessed with what people are doing in their bedroom, but he's out there picking up men. That is what you really have. You say you're for morals, but you pick the least moral figures. It's because you are devoted to dirty things. Things dirty than any of those other things. It's your slavery. It's your idolatry. And because these things aren't kept separate, you can't stick to them what they really are. You can't focus on them. You can't keep them going and growing the way they should. Each of these trees in these pots should be growing. And there's nothing wrong with these three trees. But if you mix them, they become another organism. And that's a problem.